It's that time of the year where there's still a lot to wait on or to evaluate in the recruiting game. And we saw yesterday with a flip from uh, Penn State to Georgia, just how quick things can change in the recruiting game this time of year. I mean, Joshua Miller, first of all, there's a couple things. The folks who like me have done this for a long time. It does take a second or two to get used to that June matters more now than it really ever has. In the past, it did matter, but now that you lose about 2 months with signing day changing to December, June has become the critical month of the recruiting calendar. But when we look around at you know who is ranked where and so forth on 24/7 or ESPN or Rivals or anybody like that who dares to rank players. um, that is a challenging thing to look at right now, only because folks will say, "Oh, well, why is Georgia so low?" Stuff like that. That's really not. They're not low. I mean, nobody's really started yet. I mean, here we go with, um, Rivals has got Notre Dame and Texas Tech at the top of things with Cincinnati and Northwestern. That's the top four. We're not yet really where we need to be. What you want to avoid if you are a program is not being so low that you can't catch up, not doing the work you need to do to catch yourself up um, as time goes on. I mean, any one call here from a player, specifically Arch, I guess, would really change the trajectory of Georgia's. Well, we don't know that it would change the trajectory, but it would certainly um, move Georgia up the rankings. But you shouldn't worry about rankings in recruiting in June. You should worry about them, if you want to worry about them, in November. It's a different time. But I mean, I'm just seeing here where Clemson has made a big jump up. They must have had some commits in the last few days. The Gators are still not doing, I don't think, exactly what you'd like to see in the grand scheme of things, but that's a new um they're definitely not. That's a new coaching staff, and it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get their feet settled. They need some kids down there. But when I read folks say, why isn't Georgia ranked higher? Well, why isn't Alabama ranked higher? This is just what it is. The calendar has shifted, in a way that is noticeable for all of us who've done this for a while. I mean, Alabama has 4 commitments, Georgia has 9, so naturally, Georgia's going to be higher ranked than Bama, same way Arkansas would, because they've got 12 commits. So I don't think there's tons to worry about on that front, but there are a slew of guys who are still out there to be had, and everybody is going to focus on Arch, but you've got a lot of guys out there. I mean, and really, um, Matt talks about this a lot on here, but you still have got, I mean, essentially everybody who visited in early June. That's going to be who, really shapes Georgia's class. And I want to go down that list real quick right now. I mean, obviously Arch, Caleb Downs was in town. AJ Harris, Justice Hayes, who switched to go to Buford here for his final season. Raylan Wilson, C.J. Allen, Jalen Hale. Uh, I'm not. I'm going to skip some of the Georgia commits. Um, it's that's what's important now. The calendar falls as such. June has become a really big deal, and we're about to get a break, well, in like a week or so here. There's only so many legitimate breaks in the college football calendar. Um, and one comes in early spring, and one is about to come up right now. And I just I don't think there's really any reason to have any nerves or be panicky or anything. I've I know enough that Georgia has a long distance plan with what it's going to do in recruiting. That's all there is to it. Hey, look, I'm making sure everybody hears about this. If you get DAWGSTRUCTION today, you're going to get our oh man, I'm walking away from the camera. You're going to get our uh, 2022 season preview. So if you get DAWGSTRUCTION today, you will get the preview when I send it out in the mail. This is getting sent to the printers tomorrow on Wednesday. I've got a few things to wrap up. We've got a story with Stetson, one-on-one interview with Stetson, one-on-one interview with Kendall Milton, one-on-one interview with AD, as well as I'm forgetting somebody. But anyway, you're going to want this. It's not going to be on the shelves that I'm aware of. And what I mean by that is I haven't worked it out to where it will be on the shelves anywhere in Atlanta or Athens. So pick it up today. You can just get the 2022 preview. 2022 has become a very hard thing to say. Or you get DAWGSTRUCTION and you get it for free. I mean, that's the better deal, frankly. So, I just, a lot of people have responded to that deal. I'm only printing so many magazines. So take advantage while you can. And that's what Kirby and them are going to do. They're going to take advantage of their situation. They just won the national championship. They are in what really seems like a three-way fight with Ohio State and Alabama. There's going to be some other guys that kind of hang around and do things. I mean, Texas obviously is very active in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. But generally speaking, those three schools have separated themselves. What will happen moving forward? I mean, if you're Georgia and you get your quarterback, where do you go at running back? Are you satisfied with what you've gotten on the offensive line? I was reading something on Dog Post earlier today, and I think there's a fair amount of merit to this. Because of COVID, we've really had a delay on the .com side of things. I'm no longer in the corporate structure of the .coms. I talk about them however I'd like. I think those guys have not had the ability to see players the way they would have liked to over the last three-ish years. In 22, when I was going to watch Brock Vandagriff, I saw Brock play 6 games live. I can't remember, but it was not a couple. And things were restricted at particular places. There were no camps this season. So the 21 class, you couldn't really, excuse me, the 20. Now I'm getting confused. Yeah, the class 22, there were not camps in the spring of 2020 or 21 to really kind of there weren't as many camps at least. And that's the backbone of this thing. That's how people find stars. So I do think there's going to be a ripple and there's a side effect from COVID in this recruiting world and age. I mean, keep in mind that guys weren't allowed on campus for a very long time. And it has had a major effect on a lot of things around the world, and it has had a major effect on college football recruiting. It's just what it is. So we'll see. I don't think. I mean, I hesitate to use the word panic. I use it in the headline, but this is what fans do, and I think it's ridiculous myself on two levels. Number one, you're about 5 months away from, well, let's just say 6 from signing day. Number two, as it relates to Georgia specifically and Alabama, we know what they do. I mean, they know how to recruit. It used to be that you quote closed. That was what Florida State would do, Miami. No, that it's not necessarily closing anymore. It's that Georgia in the last few months understands how to shut the door and lock things down. These last few weekends at Georgia, I'm not sure anybody in the country has had better recruiting weekends in terms of star talent. Um, Whether that will mean I don't know about number one overall class, but when Notre Dame is the number one overall class, yeah, the number one class is there to be had. A season ago, with the way that Texas A&M structured things and did such a good job recruiting, no one was going to catch them. I don't know where A&M is right now. Shows how close I follow it because it's not the time to really concern yourself with with issues, so to speak. Yeah, Texas A&M is they've only got 5 commits right now. We know these things will change. When your top 20 has West Virginia, Rutgers, Wake Forest, Minnesota, Northwestern, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech in it, there's no reason to overthink things. Things are going to change.